Hey guys, what in Queer Nation is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Queerality, the best all-live, all-queer talk show on the internet. I'm Dr. Queen Medicine Woman, Rikki Blank, and we're coming to you live from scenic, my apartment, once again. Thank you all once again for taking the time out of your busy schedules of signing up for online classes you're never going to finish to be here with us today. So before we get into it, here's how the show works. So at any point during the show, or even after the show, if you're watching, you can text Queerality to 850-695-4287 to be directed to our landing page where you can connect with our guests, tip them, or me, and show us a little love during these trying times. So again, you can text in 850-695-4287. That's 850-6569 LGBTQ at any time. So why don't you do that now? Give it a whirl. It's going to make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. I really guarantee it. So we have an awesome show lined up for you guys today. We'll be having a special roundtable discussion featuring multiple title holder and creator of the Fabulous Life Skills Pageant, Fabulous Life Skills System, Jazmena Jameson. And we also have celebrity makeup artist and Las Vegas drag performer, Alexx Alexxis. So we're going to cut to our first segment right now over there. So I'd like to know what in the gay hell is going on with life right now. So it turns out, do we have the first segment ready there? There we go. So it turns out the NYPD's apology last year for their historic mistreatment of the queer community was a crock of horse shit. But I think we all saw that coming, really. This past Sunday, in lieu of NYC's yearly Pride Parade, which was canceled due to COVID-19, a group named Reclaim Pride organized a peaceful march to commemorate the Stonewall riots. This is the 51st year anniversary of it. The NYPD, in response to their claim that one of the demonstrators had vandalized a police vehicle nearby, took measured and obviously well-thought-out action by pepper spraying a peaceful Pride Parade. Just let that sink in for a second. They pepper sprayed a Pride Parade. Several of the officers who were seen without face coverings can be seen in video circulating online, beating people with batons and even knocking a protester off of their bike. The fracas ended with 3 arrests overall, 1 for the alleged vandalism and 2 for resisting arrest. So I hope at this point we can all just remember here that the police aren't our friends. These are all government hired agents, and they're here to enforce the law, not to be our friends. So once again, defund the police, everyone. On a more positive note, though, on to our next segment. There we go. We're going to do a quick album review here. So this is an artist named Arca, who is an incredible artist who's put out some amazing queer media that's been birthed into this world. They're a Venezuelan producer and artist famous for their unique brand of avant pop. Her production credits include work with Kanye West, FKA Twigs, Frank Ocean, and Bjork. So her new album, Kick One, is the first in a 4-part series. The album is her most accessible and also their most euphoric, blending Latin influences, experimental club, and pop. The album is a mind-melting celebration of the malleability of identity and also raises the inherent absurdism in how the more concrete and rigid conceptions of self-identification can inevitably glitch the way that we interface with each other and the world. So my favorite tracks off of the album include Non-Binary, La Chiqui, Watch, and Afterwards. So I hope that you guys all have a chance to go check it out. It's just been put up on Spotify. It's incredible. So at this point of the show, once again, we'd like to take this opportunity to let you know that we'd like to support, like to have you guys support us. So if you're just an individual or if you'd love to even sponsor the show, tip me, our guests, you can text Queerality once again to 850-695-4287. Again, that's 850-69 LGBTQ. And you can do that at any time, even during the show or after the fact. So once again, try it out now. I think it'll make you feel good about yourself. So at this point in time, guys, we'd like to move on to the main point of our episode today. We have the main interview. So we have the owner of the Fabulous Pageant System, multiple title holder, and creator of the Fabulous Life Skills program, Jazmena Jameson. Round of applause. And joining us later in the interview, we're going to have celebrity makeup artist and Las Vegas drag performer, Alexx Alexxis. Hey, how's it going?
Hi, everything's going great.
Oh my God,
Glad to be here.
You look amazing.
Oh, thank you. I call it a little bit between daytime and nighttime.
You know what? I'm stuck inside, so it's all the same to me. So that's why I end up looking like this. So.
Okay. You look great.
Oh, thank you.
You look just fine.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said you look just fine.
Aw. just fine's good enough for me here.
Okay.
All right, so I mean, let's dive into this. I mean, I know you have a lot to say here. So before we get to the really heavy stuff, I'd like to know more about you. So, I mean, what was your life like growing up? What was little Jazmena like?
Oh, little Jazmena. Oh, I guess I really was always Jazmena. I was born in a little town called Rennes, Georgia. I know that sounds weird. You probably couldn't even think about how to spell it. But I grew up in my grandmother's household. My mother's lived down the street. It was a terrible life growing up. Family life was excellent, but the community life was awful because I was different.
Can you go into that a little bit more? Like, I don't want to force you to like relive your trauma or anything, but when you say terrible, like what were some of the things that you endured growing up?
Well, actually, I was very smart in school, but when it came to dealing, like having neighbors and friends and everything like that, it was tough for me because everyone kept calling me the S word. Is it okay to say the S word in here or the F word?
You know, we're on the internet. You can say whatever you want. So
okay, they would always call me a sissy and the F word, the bad fag word, and that bothered me. I didn't know why until I got a little older. So I had to fight my way all the way through elementary through high school, physically fight, because I was different. You know.
Yeah, I can understand that completely. And I mean, and even growing up and even throughout, you know, your early life, I mean, what were some of the challenges that you faced specifically as a trans woman of color?
You mean earlier in life as a trans woman or as a growing up in high school or?
Yeah, I mean, well, once you finally decided, you know, once you finally understood your truth and decided to live out as yourself, I mean, what was your experience like navigating that time in your life?
Well, I would like to take us back, first of all, to my first time going out in public as a girl, as a female. I would always dress up at home. So I always knew that that's who I was, but I had to get to the right place in my life. So I kind of had to wait until I got out of high school. However, in high school, in the 11th grade, during the fall part of school, they have what they call the Spirit Week. And that's during the football and the homecoming queen week. So I knew I couldn't compete for homecoming queen. So what they usually do, they have the cross-dresser day as one of the events during the week. And you win tickets and you win money to go to the concession stand for 2 weeks. So I decided now is my time. So I got in drag. I guess you would call it drag. I got in drag because back then we didn't know what to call it because I'm 51 years old. So this was like 1985. So I got into drag and wore my grandmother's clothes, purple and gray, which is why gray is my favorite color now. I mean, purple. And so I went to school that day as a girl. And it was so overwhelming from the response from the people. It wasn't, I thought it was going to be like one of those days I had to fight, but I didn't have to fight that particular day because they saw it as comedy. But it was my truth, you know, that I was beginning to live outwardly. So I ended up winning for the whole school. They called us all outside in the gym, or actually in the gym for Spirit Week for pep rally, and I won the cross dresser for the female to male to female. So that was my first crown without actually receiving a tiara. So yes.
First of many.
I know.
So I mean, obviously you joke that that's sort of like your first crown, but later on in life, what sort of brought you into the pageant scene? How did you start with that?
My interest didn't spark in pageantry at that particular moment just because I won the cross-dresser day. Like I said, that was my day, my moment of really living out my truth outwardly. So after that, I ended up just staying a girl half of the time, except when my mom would come home from work, I knew I had to go hide because my sister said my mom would be crying. So, okay, I accepted that, but I would still have to be a girl whenever I could. And so when I became an adult, what led me into doing, you said pageantry, right? What led me into pageantry was I ended up moving to Atlanta, Georgia. And this is after I went to college for 1 quarter in Augusta, Georgia, at Augusta College. So I said, no, now it's my time to break free because now I'm able to get out a little more because I was mostly sheltered because of my gender, you know, and growing up. So I had to go to college. Oh my God, I get to see the world more. So I ended up going to Augusta College because I turned down the scholarship in technology because I was afraid to go to Atlanta, to a big city, right? Town, maybe 2 hour drive from there. Never been subjected to any of this type of lifestyle whatsoever. It was like I was alone in that city. So I didn't know there were other people that existed. So when I became an adult, I went to Atlanta, and that's when I was able to get out to see the scene, the gay scene. They had the ball, the drag shows. They had, I mean, everything you could imagine. And, you know, Atlanta is one of the gay meccas, you know.
Really.
One of the gay meccas, and also one of the homes of legendary drag entertainment. So I was able to be subjected to that at an early age. I was able to sneak into the clubs with Naisha Dupree and those girls who are still doing shows down there in Atlanta. I used to be like, okay, I don't want to perform, but I'm a girl, you know, because I was after the boys. So that was my thing. So I was all about the boys. I had to be fish hunted without any hormones though yet. I didn't even know it existed yet. So I ended up going to the drag shows. I always wanted to go watch the drag shows. So I would go down to the donut shop to get donuts that they wanted, the fresh donuts, Krispy Kreme, and bring them back just so I could sneak into the back with the dressing room just to get into the drag show for free. So shout out to Naisha Dupree and those girls back then. Thank you. So that's the beginning of the drag part, which also led me into realizing the rest of my truth. You know, I was able to get out in the world as a girl, at least outwardly.
Right.
And then I realized a friend, she would travel the country. She was a traveling girl, making money, if you know what I mean. I'm sure you do. So
what are you
not saying you got it. I'm sure you have knowledge of it. So she was a worldly girl, but she ended up moving to San Francisco, which is where I wanted to go, the gay capital of the world, you know, once I got out of high school. Now, I always said I would move to California to become an actress, Hollywood actress, but I ended up becoming a drag queen, which is great, you know, performing on stage. So I ended up going to San Francisco to live with her a year later. My mother would tell me, she said, girl, when are you coming over to visit? Because Donna keeps hitting me up. She asking, when are you going to come to California? But at that time, I'm in puppy love. So I couldn't go anywhere. I was in puppy love at that time. So long story short, I was not a real woman. The guy was, you know how some guys, they like the girls, but they say they're still straight. So I was going through that issue at an early age, imagine 20, 21, at an early age, still going through that. There's a female that's coming over trying to fight me, and she's pregnant with his baby. So it was a lot of stuff I had to accept, like, why is this guy not accepting me just for me? And I've got to battle, this is what I got to do in life now as an adult too. You know, so that was a new struggle for me as well. So I ended up leaving, going to San Francisco. My mother only went over her house. This is when we had no pagers or no phones existed. So I think it was like in 1991. So I ended up getting on the bus and crying. Okay, 91?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, you're about 30 years younger than me. But so I ended up getting on the
I said, I'm only 29, don't worry. And then you're only what, like 35, like you said? So
15. Not even legal yet. 51. Yeah, 51.
You don't look it, so.
Thank you. Stopped going on the Greyhound. My ankles were swollen when I got off the bus to go see my friend to move there. I went for 4 days straight and cried and got on every payphone all the way there on that Greyhound bus. And I knew I'd do it, you know. I had to do it because I know I had to discover. And so I went out of the state of Georgia before either. That was a big one for me, to move across the country to become this woman that I am today. I went there and got on the hormones from there.
That's insane. I can't even imagine, especially in that time, just like so many firsts that you had to endure just to go be yourself. Like it's just like it just reminds me of just like how sheltered I am and just how lucky I am as a person just to have, you know, all the resources that I have today. Even just to, you know, just to learn and acknowledge the fact that, you know, after living a sheltered life, just that I was, you know, a gay man. I can't imagine what it was, you know, pre-internet, pre-everything, just to just to be able to, you know, be so radical in your love and self-acceptance of yourself, and then to hike it up across the country and go all the way to go live your truth. That's absolutely insane to me.
Yeah. But it was the best thing for me, you know, because who knows what would have happened, would have stayed there. I mean, you just don't know. There were times when I thought I was going to kill someone, you know, because I had to actually physically carry hammers and that, you know, and I hate to say that, but it's just the reality I lived in. And not that I was a bad person. Thank God I was a nice and good person. So, yeah, it was a bad period growing up. But family love, excellent, still to this day.
You're so blessed and lucky to have that, because I mean, I know there's so many people in the world, especially trans people, who just immediately lose any type of like familiar or friend support as soon as they come out. So the fact that you're able to maintain that, I mean, that just sounds just like the utmost blessing.
Yeah, really blessed. I do believe in God. I'm gonna have to throw that out there. It takes me through everything. So, yeah.
So once you moved to San Francisco, became more involved in the drag scene and everything. So when did the pageantry start coming into play here?
Oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. I just felt that I just lost the pageant, didn't I? I didn't answer the question properly.
There was a lot of background that needed to be covered there. It's all good. It's all good.
Right.
Yeah.
I just love to talk a lot. I told you I love to talk a lot. So anybody ever come to see me that need help, trust me, I'm here, and I will also talk. It'll be a good time. So, San Francisco. Well, the shows were there. I started doing shows there. Well, actually, back in Atlanta, I did a couple of shows at the amateur night on Wednesday night at Loretta's. But when I got to San Francisco, I just wanted to be this woman. So my main focus was getting the hormones. So I took the hormones, I ended up doing shows, and shows led to pageantry because of my history of going to all those pageants in Atlanta. I lost that desire to actually keep up with it. So I ended up competing. I didn't compete for my first pageant until I was like 31, 30, with 2000. I want to say it was 2009, 2006. And I won the preliminary for Miss Black National Capital Cities, and I went on to win the national my first time. So, which is usually not the case.
Yeah, that's like unheard of.
Right. And then after that, I won Miss Las Vegas Pride Transgender 2008. So I went from there, a couple more. So that's how I get to, but I never lost it. I always followed the main systems like Continental, Mr. and Miss Continental, US of A pageant guru. Always on top of it. And I will be competing again soon.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
In what system? What title are you going for?
Well, they're asking me to come do West Coast Classic West Coast US of A Classic prelim. But I have to sign up by tonight. I think about tomorrow morning. Get me up again and say, girl, I need you to do pageant. But they're going to do it online. But most people like to go to pageant because you get to hang out and stuff. The show must go on. So I'm going to do it right after this show. I'm going to sign up and go ahead and do the application. And I'll just get ready with my dancers for, I think it's September 9th.
Oh, wow.
We'll just do it online. And then because coronavirus, everything like pushed off for another year. So nationals won't be until May. So.
Well, we'd love to support you. So you definitely need to keep letting us know where you're at in your journey with that, because we'd love to come support. I personally have never seen a pageant before in my life in person. So it'd be a lot of fun.
The way you would be a great host. Now, I do have my fabulous pageantry system, which is a national system in Las Vegas for the last few years. I've had come in from Seattle, which is Iona Bonet Black, my first queen. My second queen from Texas, her name is Monique Norell from the legendary House of Norell. And my third queen is from the legendary House of Mattel. She came from Tampa and won the pageant. She lives here now. She's the daughter of Alexx Mattel from Drag Race.
Okay, so just between you and I and everyone else on the internet right now. So are pageant girls really as cutthroat as they're made out to seem? Like, what are some of the stories you have from competing?
Well, are they cut? I would say, I don't think so. Some may be, but I think the cutthroat may come from the judges panel instead of the girls. Because in the end, the girls have no control over what kind of score says. You know, it's just really up to the judge. I don't really think they're really cutthroat when it comes to pageantry. But now a girl may bring another girl to compete at the system if she's a foreman, say, because I want my girlfriend to win. Then she'll probably try to influence, you know, the system.
Right.
Or if you're listening to that. So that could probably happen like, oh, I'm going to bring over this certain girl. And if everybody knows her name and she's former Miss Continental, well, then, you know, they may be, you know, she'll probably Miss Continental would probably win. Let's be very clear about that. But a friend can influence the promoters possibly as well as the judges.
All right, so, but you never saw anyone like putting like, you know, the powdered glass in someone's translucent powder, or, you know, playing mind games back in the day.
You would think I have, as old as I am, but I haven't. I haven't experienced that with mine. Not at all. But I've heard the stories. But I'm surprised I didn't get to see it or experience it. I'm really surprised.
You know what? Maybe you
I've helped girls out. So, huh?
I was about to say, maybe you can be that girl now. It's never too late, you know?
Oh, no, I'm not going to do nothing to nobody. I play fairly. I come to win, and I make sure I'm prepared. You know, I do my research, and I just make sure that I'm a people person and just do the best that I can. You know, I like to be fair. I believe in being fair and equal.
Right
Give
on.
everybody fair.
Yeah. So you mentioned your fabulous pageantry system. So when did you start promoting it, eventually come to own that system?
Well, I started the pageant system. My pageantry system started out in 2015 in Seattle, Washington. So when I started actually promoting pageantry, so I started that system for a preliminary for another system, but that system didn't last, you know, past maybe another year, I guess, because sometimes it happens and sometimes they come back and restructure. But I wanted to do that to help a friend, and I did that in Seattle with my Gay Northwest pageantry system, which I have not continued anymore because it was part of her system. So I ended up deciding that now is the time to just go ahead and do my own national system. So I'm the head bitch in charge. Okay. So you don't have too many chiefs, because for me, I'm a person that thinks things through thoroughly, you know, ahead of time. So so I started doing that in February 2015. Now came around to 2016, I decided, let me have my pageant Vegas because I live in Las Vegas. This was for someone else to, you know, to expand their system. So now my own. So I started having it here in Las Vegas in summer of 2016.
Right on. And so how does that work exactly when you say it's, you know, it's a national system? Like how do you just casually just acquire a national system? Like what does the process look like for that?
Okay, well, there are a lot of pageants that start. You have different local, different levels, like locally, regionally, state, as well as national systems. Now, there's a lot of talk about becoming a national system because it's too much. It's just a whole lot of pageants now because it's something that's a trendy, I guess you would say. But back in the day, there were not that many. So I think the titles were more prestigious back then, you know, because you had very limited ones and you had to reach high standards in order to get the crown. But nowadays we have a lot more pageants out there. And what makes the difference between a local one, you know, locally means it's not going to go outside of that city. It's not going to be promoted outside of that city. State is for the state. Regional pageants sometimes cover a certain part of the country, which may be a preliminary to a national pageant system, like Mr. and Miss Continental or Mr. and Miss Gay US of A at US of A system. So but sometimes you can start out a pageant with the intention of becoming a reputable national system is what I'm on the road of trying to do. So the difference with that is on a national system, you're promoting it nationally, but if you want to be a respectable national system, you need to act accordingly and have preliminaries. So you have representatives or delegates from different parts of the country. And you need to make sure that you do not overstep your boundaries, meaning respect the older systems. Speak with those promoters. Let them know where your beginnings, where you're at, where you're trying to get to. Like me right now, I'm friends with Mr. the owner of Continental, US of A, all of them. They tell me keep going. They give me advice and everything. So they said, yeah, you started on the right foot. So I'm actually trying to get to that status of being a reputable one, you know.
That's just wild. You hear so many stories and hear so many things over the years, but unless you're involved in it, it's just like, it's so wild just to like think about just like all like the hierarchies that you have to go through, whether you're actually competing or whether you're, like starting your own system.
But I would add that all of just because it's a national system doesn't mean it's any more prestigious or a person can't cherish it more. It's about your dreams and what you're doing it for. You know, ultimately, that's what it's about. The queen who wins is about the reason she's doing it, what's her purpose, and did she achieve her goals or not. So as far as the pageant owner, they've achieved their goal. They're just living their goal. They're just living a dream, you know. And so it depends what they put into it. Like me, I'm very passionate about it. I absolutely live and breathe pageantry, and I love it from both sides, competitor as well as the promoter. But I think more so the promoter because you get to do a lot more, you know, and you get to make a lot of decisions and help determine the outcome of the actual event. So I love all that about that.
And so how do you partner up with like all the organizations or charities or whatever else it is that comes with, you know, a queen's reign at the end when they win? So, you know, how they have, you know, certain duties they need to fulfill. Like, how does that all come to be behind the scenes?
Okay, behind the scenes, like I said, once you compete for the pageant, you win first, you should know what pageant you're going to go do. I research the system. If I haven't heard of it, like I say, Continentals, and I keep throwing Continental out there because that's my favorite. That's the epitome of it to me. So I model myself after them and will always do that. And I look at it, I research the system if I'm not familiar with it. I look at their social media. I make sure I check out everything, you know. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Okay, yes.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, right.
I make sure I do my research first and know where I'm going and if I'm a good fit or not. And if I'm not, then I'll talk with those people or the formers or the promoters and figure out how can I become a better fit for that system. Now, as far as what they're expected to do, you know, in regards to their reign and everything, and how you connect to the agencies on the outside, like social service organizations. Well, my program is held at the LGBTQ Center, but it was originally held at Gender Justice, in which I received this Champion of Change Award for last year after 6 months of doing so it feels good. I didn't expect it awards night, but they gave it to me, so I'll cherish this forever because it's a result of what I'm doing because of what I love doing, helping us, you know. That always feels good. And I always say my job is not a job. Drop the B and put a Y. It's called joy. But
I love that.
But to connect with agencies, what I do is well, you see, to work with agencies as the queen, or do you mean work with the agency as the promoter now? Because there's two different.
Well, I'm just saying, so like say I'm competing in Continental and I win, there's obviously certain things that I need to fulfill as part of my reign. So how do those things happen behind the scenes? How do those get integrated into what eventually becomes, you know, the reign that needs to be fulfilled?
Okay. Well, usually I have a contract. There's a contract involved. If it's a legitimate system, it shows the winning prize, the expectations, when they're paid, the expectations, and what the system is going to do for the entertainer. So they'll have a whole itinerary of things they're to do during the year. So they already know in advance what's on there when they're applying for it. It's a part of the application to see if they would like to compete or not, and if they think they can reign successfully. But we are here to help them reign successfully as well. Because like I said, I love doing what I do. So that's really how most systems are done according to the contract. Now, if you do more work with agencies outside the contract, absolutely wonderful. That's what we're supposed to do. So that's an added bonus to to your reign. And when you do that, if a queen does that for me, which is what I'm trying to do now through both programs, bringing them together, I would definitely open my purse up to her a lot more than just the cash prize that she won. And support her and what her goals are. So that right there alone helps the girls decide, am I willing to do more than just the contract says? So I always express that to all of the applicants. And so far I've had happy queens, 4 happy queens.
Can't ask for more, right?
Right, and they're coming back each year to performance forums. I fly them back, I make sure I make them happy, because it's a two-way street. And in the end, the dream and the creation of the project was mine. So I have to look further than say if there's a queen that you're not getting along with. You have to look at bigger than that. Say, I have to look at the bigger picture. First of all, I accept the person for them being a unique individual first, and then you go to the pageantry question about, okay, is she giving me a hard time or not? Is she not fulfilling the obligations? Have a conversation with them, But in the end, you could either dethrone them or you could decide your timeline. Basically meaning the work that I put into it, because it's my dream and my project. Am I willing to sacrifice? What am I willing to sacrifice to keep that going? So, it's some decision-making process you have to do. Because if you have a bad queen, do you take a risk and dethrone her? Do you keep her on, for good face?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things you have to do, pressure there.
So
hopefully, I've had decent queens. So
I'm sure you're only going to have the best of the best. You seem like you
I'm
have
looking for
very high standards.
Thank you.
I know you mentioned your Fabulous Life Skills program earlier. So just kind of going back a little bit before that. So what brought you to wanting to give back to your own community and the LGBT community at large? Like how did that start playing up in your mind?
Okay, if I can be blunt and honest, because I'm always honest.
That's
like you said, okay. Like I said before, a lot of the girls, when I say the trans girls, mainly, I would say trans girl, maybe drag queens as well. In our lifestyles, because sometimes society or just living period or just being who we are has made it harder for us to get income, or at least we psyched ourselves out because maybe we didn't have the support system that we needed to to remind us that we're normal just like everybody else. You can get a job. You can go to school. I went to college. I graduated college. You can do these things. But I also did the other things, was a working girl. Mm-hmm. So I did that for years. Now I'm getting older, 51 years old. But last year I decided I was gonna slow down or not do it anymore because it was messing with my happiness. And my happiness means everything to me. I said to live half of 100, and now I'm in the other part of my life. I want to be happy, sincerely happy. And I want to, what makes me happy is helping girls and helping people. And so I said at the same time, I prayed on it, and I prayed and I prayed. And I asked the Lord, I said, well, please give me, I'm going to ask you for the magnifying glass. And he gave me the magnifying glasses about relations with people, friends that I had to let go of. Unfortunately, you still can love them, but do without them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And even down here, I didn't just only start the program. It's a lot of changes that I had to be willing to make. So I ended up deciding that I was going to start a program because I always wanted to be a teacher, but I didn't go to college to teach school because of gender problems. And I was scared that somebody might lie on me and saying that I'm trying to have sex with some underage boy or something, It's terrible. Back then it was bad, arresting the teachers and like that. So I was like, oh my God, I couldn't even have my dream to truly, sincerely help people learn something before they get out into the real world, Mm-hmm. And so I ended up not doing that, but I ended up majoring in computerized business applications. I did that. That works in working in the offices. So I've done that, but now I'm back to my dream. It may not be teaching school per se, but it's also giving people tools and leading the classroom or the group meetings to inspire people, to help walk them through problems, solving issues and things like that. So I think that's my blessing still later on in life. So this is how I've always felt. And every day I've helped people every day. I ask myself, does that feel good every day? And it feels really good. So, and make a long story short, over where the trans girls were at, the working girls over in, I don't know if I can say the area, but the area that the working girls work at, I have a good rapport with all of those girls for years, and I'm also a people person, and I always compliment the girls and everything. So in the end, I ended up having a program at Gender Justice behind the building, same building, but behind there. So I started it there and decided, well, maybe I can help, the girls this way, and we could become on the same team and cheer for each other, so to speak. So that's what I decided to do to help myself while I'm helping others. And it's worked out well,
Yeah. I think that's absolutely incredible. And I don't think you need to fault yourself for, not being, an educational, traditional teacher. One of the reasons that I started doing this show, and one of my main motivations behind it, and what I, think on every time I, do an episode, is that I think about the experiences that I went through as a child growing up and how I didn't have any representation for someone like me who not only was gay but also like really fucking weird and like just like, you know, weird shit. And I think about how, you know, I didn't have the best coming out process. You know, I lost all of my friends and was kicked out of my home by my parents. And, you know, I think about the years and years of addiction and other terrible things that I had to endure from, you know, like my own, you know, mental instability and lack of self-confidence to get myself to the point at where I am today. And it's just like, you know, I just had a little nephew that was born back in February. And to me, for me, it's all centered on really, it's just that if I can be that one person who some queer kid sees that makes them feel like it's okay to be who they are, then I know I've done my job. And I've volunteered and worked with, you know, several prides over the years. And at Pasadena Pride one year, I was the coordinator, and I worked with a couple trans kids that were volunteering who were, you know, were brought there by their parents. And it was amazing as a person just to be able to, even not without being, you know, overly, you know, gay or overly, you know, like flamboyant or, you know, whatever word you want to use, but just to be able to be comfortable and be my natural self, and to, you know, to make crack jokes with them. And they say like, wait, we can say that? We can make jokes? And I'm just like, yeah, I'm twisted. Like, you can say whatever you want around me. Like, I am not the person who's going to police you. And it's incredible to see just how something that small can be on someone that's just, you know, like forming their identity and really trying to, you know, be comfortable and happy with who they are. And so I really applaud and thank people like you for being able to provide that platform and to be so visible, because it's just like, well, if there's no one like you or I around, then who else is going to be there for that next generation to, you know, to be that source of inspiration, to be, you know, to pat that child on the back and say, like, you know what, like, you don't have to engage in all the, you know, all the drinking and all the drugs and all the self-hatred and all the things that, you know, someone like me has had to endure. That, like, you're fucking rad the way you are, and nothing is going to take that away from you. So just like, be better. You're going to be all right.
Yeah. And find happiness as much as possible within self. That's
Exactly.
really what gets me through too. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're about at that special point in the program where we're going to turn this into a little roundtable. So for those of you who are watching, I have another incredible guest who I'm going to introduce. He is a celebrity makeup artist. He is one of my best friends in the world, and he's also a Las Vegas drag queen and performer. Please welcome Alexx Alexxis.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm glad that you sat behind the scenes long enough and watched this go on. So now you're here.
I was super entertained. You know what? I love hearing people's backstories. I love being able to like see and like understand someone else's like point of view in the community. So it was really nice to like just listen in on Jazmena's story.
Oh, thank you. So one of the reasons that we brought Alexx here today is because, again, he is one of the skills that a lot of trans women tend to focus on and need as a method of survival and navigation through the world is feminization. And either one of you can answer this. So the process of, you know, feminization through makeup, I mean, again, this isn't something that's necessarily something that is wanted by all trans people, but I mean, why is this so necessary to so many trans women?
I like to think that it's something that is of importance to certain, like you said, to a certain group of trans women, because not everyone considers passing as a way to live or a lifestyle, but a lot of women that are trans women, I should say, do really want that feminization, that feminine face, and makeup can enhance that without having to pay for surgeries or having to go, you know, like under the like needle, I guess it's called. And makeup really helps to be able to, you know, kind of create that chiseled little small jaw, those cute little cheeks, without having to put silicone in your face or without having to, you know, worry about if you could afford it or not, because, you know, makeup is really, really affordable, or so on and so forth. And I feel like that really helps define a lot of women, because, you know, having that the smaller or more feminine features can make you feel a lot more, I don't really like to say like womanly, but womanly. Like, it makes you feel more, you see more of yourself when you look in the mirror, when you have these little features that you want to see.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, and speaking to what you said about, either, going to a back alley needle or going under the knife. I mean, Jazmena, I mean, before there were so many other options available to trans women, what kind of things did you see in the past in terms of women who were desperate to, enhance themselves and maybe didn't make the best choices in terms of the resources that were available at the time? What did you see going on back in the day?
In the late 80s, the very big ending of the 80s is when I was able to get out into the life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a product of that regret, I should say, because back then the hormones did not exist. At least I didn't hear them until I got into California. So, and that was when I was like 21. I think I was 20 or 21 barely. So there were no hormones. We didn't know anything about that. I used to wear water balloons that would bust walking down the street just to have breasts, right? But as far as facial feminism, you just had to, I would look in a magazine, just try to say, oh, well, this black lady, this is what I wanted to look like. I used to think I was Jane Kennedy back in the day. Y'all probably too young to remember her, but she was beautiful. But the first black sportscaster on TV. Beautiful. So I thought I was her. I wanted to be her. So, but the thing that I did, and after I got to San Francisco, I got on the hormones, like I said, when I first got there.
Right.
But some of the stuff, the hormone shots, they were not legal. So I did the black market with the hormone shots, the Perlutol, which were great, made me look ultra feminine, beautiful. But years ago, I haven't taken them. I'm just getting back on hormones now. I haven't taken them in like a few years. But for various reasons, because of the silicone here, I went and got silicone injections. I'm not embarrassed. It happened. We didn't have no hormones. We didn't, like at that time. Well, we had I got the hormones, but the tits wouldn't grow big enough, quick enough. Okay, so I ended up getting so I went along with some people, and we did the silicone injections and stuff like that in the face and the breast, and so those are bad mistakes that I made, things that I regret now. But back then they were wonderful, temporarily. Mm-hmm. But now I have to go get surgery and get the stuff removed out and wait to get new implants. And the silicone, so that's why I say no to silicone. I always tell you, my nieces and great nieces, no silicone, because it's going across here. I can actually show y'all. You see that? I'm not embarrassed. This will help. You see it right there?
No, you know what? That's what this whole show is. The show is meant to be a resource for anyone who's watching. So I'm glad that you feel, comfortable enough and vulnerable enough to show us.
Yeah, I'm not embarrassed. I mean, I'm 51 years old. I'm happy. I've made it to 51, right? So I ended up, so I did the silicone shots only in the breast and the face. I went down to Tier 1 to the doctor down there before too, like once or twice. I did it in Atlanta another time that I really didn't need any silicone in my face. I was looked like a girl without the silicone. But back then we were so desperate to look more like a girl for the look that we wanted. Mm-hmm. And now I realize, I look at my picture, I say, girl, I passed then anyway, So and for me, it was being able to get to pass back then because it was important to me personally. Everyone is not past, but I think we're all still equal because I always take all the clothing off, take it all off. Even I don't care if somebody says, oh, you're gorgeous, beautiful. Baby, take it all off. We still all the same people. We all got a soul. We're all human. So I don't look at somebody as if they're not passable. No, if they're happy-go-lucky person, hey, girl, because that's just how I am, just to meet people where they are. And that's what I do as a community health worker and the director of the Fellows Life Skills Program, where they're at. So, respect people.
Yeah, and I mean, and I know that you, again, just mentioned that, passing isn't necessarily that everyone is capable of or something that everyone even aspires to. Alex, maybe you can speak to this first, but I mean, what is the importance of, self-expression or even, even just involving just simple makeup techniques in everyone else's day to help them aspire to be the person that they want to be, whether they be non-binary, whether they be, a classic binary transgender person or otherwise. I mean, what's your role in that?
So my first ever makeup job was at Sephora. And one thing that I always told people, regardless of me working in makeup, was makeup isn't there to make you feel beautiful. It enhances what's already beautiful about you. And that's what I always tell people. It's like makeup can only do so much for you. You know, like that. I have a fat face, girl. Makeup is you know,
you look gorgeous. That face is on, baby. It's on,
girl.
It's on.
You know, and what I tell people, it's like, to me at least personally, like when I first got into makeup, it was more of I'm trying to hide all of my insecurities. I mean, I never really had acne or anything bad like that, but I wasn't always the most confident, as a lot of like people in the LGBT community that I do know, or even just people in general that aren't a part of our community, aren't usually the most secure in themselves. And I feel like makeup really helps mask that. And when I was first getting into it, it was more like, I need it because I need to feel pretty. I need to feel this. I need to feel that. And now whenever I am going to do makeup, even on my my main client, which her name is Nicolette Shea, she is a really, really, really big adult actress. I would tell her, girl, you look beautiful, but you look beautiful because you're naturally pretty. Like makeup just enhances what's already there for me to work on. And that is the case with everyone that I put makeup on. I follow your natural features while just simply enhancing what you already have there. Because that's what's like the most beautiful about using makeup. Same with when I do it on myself, I just enhance the features that are already there. I have chubby cheeks. Well, I make them bigger so you can see them more, because a bitch, people pay for these. I'm going to show them.
They do. Well, I pay for mine, but now they're drooping down. Now I'm getting old. You know, when you get old, it starts to gravitate down. So now, and this is another thing I want to show everybody. You see how the silicone is dropping down, drooping? When you get old, see it there? The cheeks are down here. The cheeks are down here. I don't know if you can see it. They fell down here. The silicone gravitates. So that's enough. Now I got to go get this removed so to look more feminine. And this silicone chin too. You see? So those are the I wouldn't say mistakes. They were the things that I needed at that time, I felt. But now I regret them. So I also stay away from silicone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Again,
horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I would never see them as mistakes at all. Like I said, I mean, this was a time when you were working with, you know, what you had, where you were at. Like these were all things that were necessary for survival. And I mean, had you, you know, been growing up at a different time, different place, things might have been different. But this is like, you know, this is the reality for trans women of that time. So, I mean, I wouldn't see it as a mistake. And like I said, you're absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. Well, I haven't put a brush on my face in about 6 months since the pandemic, about 5 or 6 months. So I'm like, look, I can't even paint no more. I gotta come take your class, Alex. I gotta have you paint me and teach me.
You let me know.
I need some help. I want to do a photo shoot soon, you know, because I got some projects coming up.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's funny when he said that makeup can only do so much. He literally just told me that today on FaceTime after I showed him this. So,
girl, all I get to do is paint my face. I have nothing better to do with my day-to-day life. I just girl.
Okay.
So, Alex, I'm going to sling this question your way. So, as the professional makeup artist of the group here, so for anyone who is trying to feminize their features, what are some of the key features that they need to pay attention to?
All right. So, to me personally, every makeup artist is going to tell you something completely different, or some might even agree with me. I think that contouring, bronzing, and blushing of the face is really what helps form the skin or the shape of your face. To me, the face shape is what really brings out the femininity of like one's face. I just said face like 4 times. You know,
okay.
Different ways of contouring. So like if you want more of a feminine shape, you're not going to contour straight down, because then that's just going to give you a very elongated, masculine looking face traditionally. For a more feminine face, you would want to bronze up, going upwards, like into that, hugging the cheekbone almost, to kind of lift your cheek up and make it look more feminine, more pretty, more soft, kind of more like you're naturally smiling. And, you know, blushing the cheeks always gives it that really beautiful, like, effect where it's like it's just nice and rosy going up, which a lot of women actually have like those really beautifully gorgeous, just blushy cheeks. And to me, like, those are really, really important features in me. Or like if you want to get more technical, eyeshadow, you would want to bring it out more towards going up. I never ever in my life will do my liner going straight out because then I'll just look tired and droopy, and people don't want that. You want to look more awake. You want to have more of that beautiful feminine cat eye going straight up because that's what gives you more of that, like droopy bedroom bitchy eye that everyone just kind of like.
Okay.
So, contouring of the forehead too. You always want to like. A lot of people say like do like the 3 when it comes to contouring or bronzing. I don't really like to do that mainly because when you do the 3, you're just kind of like following what's there. For feminization for the face, you kind of want to almost mask that area that doesn't really follow in the way that you want it to be shown on your own skin. So you would want to contour according to your own personal face. Not everyone can follow that 3, because not everyone's face is like built the same. So you would want to like figure out what looks good on you. What I tell people is look from the top of your ear, follow that down, and then swoop it up. Literally, I have that exact like that line.
It's perfect. It's
So that's what I always tell people, or like bringing the hairline like shadow kind of lower down to kind of give it that smaller forehead like look. For trans women of color, I always tell them like, I know so many just women of color, men of color, people of color that contour with really, really deep blacks or plums. And that's not usually always the best look because you can look regardless really ashy or just really, really, really dark in these areas, which is not really the most necessary. So like tip that I always give like people of color whenever I do their makeup or whenever they ask is I tell them to do this thing that is called like anti-contouring, which is basically where you will add like a banana powder. Banana powder works really well for like deeper skin complexions. Yeah, and do it right under your natural contour line. That just enhances the rest of your cheeks and it looks so beautiful, like incredibly pretty. And then add a little bit of brown for the the zhuzh.
And is there anything, Jazmena, that you picked up along the way that you could add to that?
Well, that banana definitely. That there is like a lifesaver. I mean, if you haven't even contoured, it's best to contour your face, but if you don't have anything to contour, just put a little here.
Yep.
A little bit, and you're still gonna be okay.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to add to that, you're right. Like my eyes, I'm not a makeup artist. Because usually when I do makeup, it's just regular fish makeup, but female makeup. But but for pageants and stuff, like to have other people paint me, like you would, like Alex, have somebody paid to do it because I want to make sure I look the best I can look, and knowing that I have invested myself and my time and believe in the person, and usually I let them just do what they feel like they need to do. But as far as I understood the part you were saying about the eyes going up because you draw out and makes your eyes look small, but you want to pop, you have an open eye, like Tyra Banks calls it. What does she call it?
Like smizing.
Smizing. Yeah. Will make you look a little more sizable with that. So I use the lash on, and I can't even lay a lash flat because I usually have to angle it so it'll go up more.
Yeah.
Instead of laying it flat. Yeah, so, but I do need to get some techniques from you, though, Alex. I really do. Sure. But as far as like in these areas here, because see, some of us got big foreheads, right?
I'm not
too big. Like right here, I know what you were saying. This is the area where we people of color usually darken in here because it looks too masculine because the cowlicks they call them. Yeah. So you have to fill it in. So that's what I'm normally used to doing. So I'm looking forward, Alex, to learning the opposite way of doing that. It's usually how I usually do it, especially when I'm snatching a bun or on my hair back, because you don't want to look like you have a big head, because it tends to look big face. It tends to look unfeminine, less feminine, I should say. Yeah. So contouring is extremely important. Contour, like for real. And I usually pop on something and make. to make it look as if you're serged. But I did have a nose job and stuff. So, but
Looks stunning.
you know, but I still love to put the makeup on, make it look even more surged.
Okay.
So, Alex, just out of curiosity, I know obviously the banana powder was mentioned earlier, but are there any other like key go-to products that you think of immediately when you're trying to establish like an everyday makeup routine, something simple for anyone that's looking to just like get ready, get out the house, or something that is just like a key staple and is just like really dependable when it comes to the techniques that you were mentioning earlier?
It depends, because I have different techniques for people of color and different techniques for anyone under like a melanin skin tone. But key points that I always say, like one of my favorite like time things is a nice medium coverage foundation. You don't need the most skin like foundation. You don't really need all that stuff on your skin. You know, I always tell people I love a good medium coverage foundation with a high coverage concealer, because you get this most beautiful center of your skin and it just looks really nice. At least I like that. I like how that looks. Also a really nice just mattifying powder, like even if you have like oily skin, dry skin, like a nice mattifying powder just to set over the face very lightly or heavily depending on your skin type can do so much for your skin. I know a lot of people like to use like those illuminating powders and stuff, but I don't really like to use those because I tend to get oily throughout the day, and I feel like anyone, even with matte skin, tends to get oily in certain parts of the skin. And when you have like this illuminating or this dewy type powder, you're gonna look super oily, and it's not gonna look cute, and it's not gonna look like appealing to yourself. And like just like staple brands that I love to go for whenever I buy for makeup, I love Juvia's Place. They have a really, really beautiful wide selection of nice foundations, concealers, eyeshadow palettes that are really, really well for anyone on the color spectrum, from like the palest of skin tones to the deepest of skin tones. So anything from that brand, if you're ever looking for like a nice, great brand that you could just grab everything from, like that's a really, really good brand to go to. I don't know if I answered the question.
And what about you? Is there any go-to thing that you over the years?
Well, first of all, being that I am trans/drag queen, meaning I love drag basically. So meaning I would put on female, what they consider less makeup, less is best daytime, usually, but I just put a little extra on today though. But it's less best, less is best daytime. Nighttime, let's get in drag. You know, whether you're a natural female, cisgender, or trans, or drag, get in drag, mama, and feel your moment. You know, for me. But as far as skincare, I use olive olay. I've been using olive olay forever, ever since I can remember stealing it out of my mom's bathroom growing up. So I use olive olay to this day. It works for me. Now, as far as skincare, so some girls, they're not able to get like laser removal or didn't get electrolysis or whatever, because it is kind of costly. What I have done and have experienced over my years, I did some laser, and it still didn't stop everything, even to this day, because I guess I haven't been taking the hormones, because the hormone kind of retards it. So what I've learned over the years, and they've been doing this for decades, I use what people hate to, this is going to say, but I'm going to really show the real true products, because this is really works.
Yeah, all right.
This here, it's a like a beard shaver, but it's powder, white powder.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You put it in water and mix it just so it's a paste, and the smell is awful. But they do have a fragrant one in a golden black can, which doesn't smell bad. But we don't want to smell like a man if we're trying to present woman, right? So I have a solution for that too. So this right here, what I teach them in the class and stuff when I was facilitating. But the powder, this has worked for me for about at least 30, 35 years. It's worked 35 years. The same exact one I've been using. There's no bump, not one. No, smooth, baby smooth. And I grow hair still because I haven't taken the hormones. But the hormones is not going to stop it anyway. So I have to get hair off my face maybe every 3 days. So, I mean, hair, not really much, but you know, enough. But this right here, you put it in there, you mix it, you leave it on for maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Oh yeah, okay. You leave it on for maybe 3 to 5 minutes. And then you just wash it off. I say wash it off with warm water so you can take all the dirt and everything off of your skin. And then the other thing I've been using for about 20 years, this product here, I think it's for Bronner Brothers from Atlanta, isn't it? M&M product, M&M products in Marietta, Georgia. This product here is a bump. It's called Bump Patrol. And I guarantee everybody I've had gave them this solution with this and this, they have not one bump. So just try to remember those products. This really works. It really does. And I know a lot of people have tried the bump, I think it's called Bump Stopper. That's been around for decades. Never worked for me. It takes forever to think about getting any results. This is it'll take you about a day, 1 to 2 days, and you continue using it every time you either shave, because I can't do a razor, I get bumps with razors. But use this, perfection. You can get it at Walmart, beauty supply stores, or you can order it online. And it's only like about $10 to $12 for this, and it lasts for at least 6 months.
Oh, wow.
So it's not bad. So I suggest girls do that. And if you can't handle this here, just use your razor if that's what you have to use, but still use the Bump Patrol and it works.
I'm literally I'm speechless right now as someone who has a lot of razor burn for being in makeup probably like 5-6 days a week. That's I'm gonna be on the lookout for that.
I just kind of
I'll send you pictures of it and send them to you. Yeah,
oh,
I'm serious.
Right.
That has been a lot of years. It's worked for me, and everybody I turned on to it, they still using it. They're all of them. They're like, girl, this works. They're still using the same thing. No problem. So it works, especially when we're trying to feminize our faces, and we know that people immediately look, even for trans women, especially, they look for either the Adam's apple, which mine has been shaved. I had surgery in 1991 in San Francisco. So I used to wear like tie things around my neck, because I wanted to look more like a girl. I would take anything I can find and tie. I'm in full drag, and I think I'm a girl. I had to hide the neck because the Adam's apple was like a chicken neck, and that wore me out. But when I got to San Francisco, 2 weeks after I was there, I was in surgery. I didn't know you could even get a surgery to shave it down. My friend said, there's a couple of girls that got it done. The doctor's here, and when she invited to turn me on, 2 weeks later, I was able to get my surgery, giving him that $1,500. But God knows I had to see a couple of gentlemen to get the money, but I was determined. So sometimes you have to go through stuff to get to stuff, right?
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. I'm so glad I did, though.
All right, so just switching off from that topic there. So I don't know if there's any companies, especially you, Alex, specifically know of, but what are some amazing Black-owned businesses, businesses owned by people of color, or any businesses that really spotlight a lot of the trans community and their work and their advertising that you would like to sort of like bring to the forefront right now?
Well, there's obviously the really, really, really mainstream popular one, which is Fenty Beauty. Miss Rihanna really did that with all her products. They are great. I don't know if I would consider her brand technically to be a Black-owned company because it is owned by Sephora, and Sephora is
Sephora.
Not. I do love, and I always preach up and down that I love Juvia's Place. Juvia's Place is a wonderful brand that is specifically catered to women of color, people of color. It is such an amazing brand. I don't know if you've heard of a brand also called Denessa Myricks. She is another woman of color. Her brand is really, really great. It's more for like studio wear, but you can wear it anywhere, obviously, because you can. They do sell it at Makeup Shack as well. So it is like in Las Vegas. You can go to the Makeup Shack and buy Denessa Myricks products. I believe I have her powder in my makeup bag because that's the only powder I love using on my skin because it does wonders. She has from translucent powder all the way to like the deepest, darkest browns powder. It is amazing. I love her brand. I'm not too familiar with Black-owned companies, which I should educate myself a lot more. But those are like the top 3 that I use and that I am really well educated on. Denessa is a really, really, really amazing person. She is super easy to get in contact with as well. And she is really proud of like her small company. You can also get her products at Morphe if you want to like shop at a more like mainstream store. Morphe does carry her entire line, and it is great.
Also, just to add on to that,
I
since
love
I know a couple and I finally have something on Alexx for once in terms of makeup. So we have Beauty Bakery, which is a Black-owned business, which is absolutely incredible. And then also a company that a couple of my close trans friends are brand ambassadors and models for, which is Bella Chic Cosmetics as well. So if you haven't checked them out online, check out Bella Chic Cosmetics. They are absolutely incredible. And they are incredible in terms of their representation, in terms of models as well. Literally, any type of body, skin tone, gender presentation, sexual orientation, you name it under the sun, they have it there. They're an incredible business, and I think we need to do a lot more, especially in light of all the stuff that's been going on lately in terms with the beauty community. That I think we need to do a lot more to start buying from and being way more aware of locally owned businesses, indie businesses, Black-owned businesses, queer businesses, anyone who supports and uplifts our community.
I mean,
All right, so we're gonna wrap this thing up here right now, but and this is a question for the both of you. But what can you both say is a key piece of advice that you give to anyone who's struggling with confidence right now, or dealing with any type of, like I guess lack of self-confidence, really, and to keep them from really pushing forward, something to help them keep pushing forward in life, really, something to keep them motivated? What would you tell them?
should I go first?
No, I mean, I could go if you want me to.
Go right ahead.
You want me to go first? Okay. One word, one key word, well, 3 words. You are fabulous. We all are unique. You're fabulous. Just believe in yourself. I mean, you can't be who you're not, and just love yourself. I mean, and I always give them an example. When I meet people, I give them an example. I say, just like you just got up and decided to put your clothes on today, you make yourself self-empowered. You determine. You have a lot of power to determine your own happiness. So it's as simple as getting up and putting on your clothes. Same thing.
It's the same thing.
And also get support. Support is out here and available to you. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
That one. Yeah. The same thing that I always tell my little sister, and that I wish I had someone to sit there and tell me, it's like, no one is really going to fully care for you. The only person that's ever going to really love you is yourself. You have to be your number one fan and also your number one hater. If you can't criticize yourself, you're never going to get better. You have to literally tell yourself what you've done wrong and what you're going to fix it, or how you're going to fix it. You have to be able to tell yourself, I didn't do well here, but I'm going to do great next time. Like, you have your own backbone to be able to tell yourself, like, I messed up and I'm going to go ahead and try harder at the same thing and make it better. I always tell my little sister, you're always going to fall. Everything you do, you're going to fall. Like, you're never not going to fail, not at least once. Everything in life is going to prepare you to fail. And all those failures are going to bring you up to have that great grand prize at the end. So I always tell people, do not.
And I always
fail.
And what was that, Jazmena?
I just wanted to add one quick thing. It just came back to mind. Like the program, the Fabulous Life Skills program, and like you were just saying, Alexx, it's where you end up at. Where that prize is what I always tell people in the class, keep the prize. I said, and the way that I do it is a self-empowerment program. Sometimes it's painful to go back, but sometimes it's parts of this self-conversation. That's really what it's about. Your life, the most important thing is your own self-conversation with yourself. That may sound strange, but it's the truth, because you're left with yourself in the end. And I always tell them it's a 3 parts to it. It's where am I from? Where am I at? And where am I going? And you have to take things in any situation, no matter what it is, you look at it that way and keep your eye on the prize and you'll be all right. Exactly. And if you fail, keep trying again.
Exactly.
And that's what I live by.
Exactly. And then I don't know if I mentioned this in my last interview or not, but I always tell people that, like, hey, if you're about to, like, embark on a new part of your life or try to live like your most live your life according to your most authentic self, or whatever it is that you're attempting to do to better yourself and move forward, is that like you can never be the worst. Like there have been God knows how many trillions of people that have walked this earth, and A, someone has probably done it worse than you, and B, there's probably someone who has never even attempted to try it. In fact, there's probably millions and billions of people that have never even attempted to have the wherewithal and the courage to do exactly what you're doing right now. So even if you're not the best at it, just by putting yourself out there and continuing to be the best human being that you can, it is already so much more of a success than you will ever realize.
Yeah.
Right.
And it feels so good. Like I said, I wouldn't be doing it if it didn't feel good. It feels good to me. So I love helping us.
Exactly. All right. And then I guess last question, really. We're going to circle back to Jazmena for a second, because I would like to know what exactly it is that your life skills program, the Fabulous Life Skills Program, does specifically, and where people who are looking for those types of resources can contact you and sign up for your program, and what they get out of it.
Okay. All right, everyone. I was glad. Thank you for having me this afternoon. To sum everything up, I'm the director of the Fabulous Life Skills Program that I founded here in Las Vegas. It's held, I have groups every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. at the center here, the Las Vegas LGBT Center. Hold on one second. What were you saying?
We're closing up.
Okay, I'll be out in 1 minute. Okay, so, and this is why I have the program 5 to 6 every Thursday. I also have ongoing announcement of different seminars. This can range from anything from helping you get a job, helping you get your ID. We help people get bus passes, resources and referrals to doctors' cares, because I'm always adding resources to our bank. So if you ever have any resources, please share them with me. Yeah, and they can get us, they can find us on Fabulous Pageantry System or the Fabulous Life Skills Program on Facebook. Or they can call me or reach out to the center.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jazmena. I know you obviously need to get going. I know they're closing the center down right now, so I don't want to get locked in for the night.
Oh, one more thing. I wanted to show you. Also, since I own the pageant system, I love pageantry so much. I said I'm gonna put pageantry as part of a project, as part of the Fabulous Life Skills Program. So I came up with the Fabulous. This is a program that started the Miss and Miss Trans Visibility Pageant.
Love it.
So someone would be winning those crowns. And Ray here at the center, who's Trans and Diversity Program Manager, she's helping me out with that. So we've been working on that for the last few months. And whoever wins, we need them to be advocates in the community and activists for trans visibility, as well as everybody in the world is equal. I almost forgot to throw that in there.
Hey, you know what? That was definitely the crown, but on the interview. So thank you so much for that. That was beautiful.
Yeah. I'm not gonna put it on my head because some other girl's crown. Okay, that's gonna win.
All righty. Well, I'll let you get going so you don't get locked inside. But thank you so much for coming on.
All right, thank you all so much. And Alex, I'll hit you up. And I'm serious about coming to get some makeup tips, or have you paint me for a photo shoot or something.
Yes, girl.
You promote even the pageant or the promote.
Yes.
I'm dead serious. So I'll hit you up, okay?
All right, girl.
All right, thank you, Rikki, for having me. This means the world.
Of course. All right, Alex. Well, I guess that just leaves you and I. I need to sign off, so I will talk to you later, sir.
Later. Thanks for having me.
Bye.